Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a room you live in every day. Most people leave the windows open, letting in every noise, every criticism, every worry, every fear until the room becomes so loud they can't hear their own thoughts anymore. But a Stoic doesn't live like that. A Stoic learns to close the windows, not to shut out the world, but to choose what enters the room of their mind. And this simple shift, the ability to control what gets in, is one of the most powerful mental habits you can ever build. Stoic philosophers believe that mental strength doesn't come from fighting the world, but from mastering the inner space where your reactions are formed. They understood that life will always bring frustration, uncertainty, and noise, but that your peace depends not on eliminating those things, but on deciding which ones deserve your attention. This is where the most important Stoic trick begins: selective attention. The ability to ignore what does not matter and give full presence to what does. Every day, you receive hundreds of small stimuli: a message you don't like, a comment that irritates you, someone who misunderstands you, an unexpected inconvenience. Most people react instantly, letting each stimulus pull them in a different emotional direction. But the Stoics realized something profound. Not everything deserves a reaction. Not everything deserves your emotional participation. When Epictetus said, "You become what you give your attention to," he wasn't being poetic. He was explaining the foundation of mental strength. Your mind adapts to whatever it repeatedly focuses on. If you constantly focus on what annoys you, you become easily annoyed. If you constantly focus on what scares you, you become more fearful. But if you train your attention to rest on what matters, your mind becomes clearer, calmer, and more powerful. Stoic selective attention begins with a simple question: is this under my control? If the answer is no, someone's opinion, a rude comment, a delay, a mistake already made, then the Stoic response is equally simple. Let it pass through you without landing. Don't fight it, don't explain yourself, don't replay it in your mind. Let it dissolve, the same way a drop of ink disappears in the ocean. But if the answer is yes, your effort, your intention, your honesty, the way you show up, then you give it everything. Mental strength grows when you stop feeding what drains you and start feeding what builds you. Here's the truth: your mind is constantly being shaped. Either you shape it intentionally, or the world shapes it for you. Without awareness, your attention becomes a magnet for negativity, arguments, comparison, anxiety, external validation. But with Stoic attention, you begin to choose what enters your mind. Silence becomes a skill, focus becomes a weapon, and presence becomes your natural state. Even modern neuroscience confirms this. Your brain strengthens whatever it repeatedly focuses on. Attention literally rewires the mind. So when you deliberately redirect your attention from what disturbs you to what empowers you, you're not escaping reality. You're reshaping your internal architecture. But selective attention isn't passive. It's not about ignoring everything. It's about choosing deliberately what deserves energy. When something difficult happens, the Stoic does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead asks, "What is the best response available to me?" This question pulls you out of emotional reflex and into conscious control. It interrupts the emotional chain reaction and replaces it with intentional action. And that is the birth of mental strength. Not in avoiding discomfort, but in choosing your response to it. To build this habit, try this. Throughout your day, pause for just 1 second before reacting to anything. That tiny pause interrupts automatic responses and gives you time to choose deliberately. It's the same technique used by philosophers, elite athletes, CEOs, and even modern therapists. That 1 second space is where your power lives. In that moment, you decide what enters your mind and what stays outside. You decide what is worthy of you. The more you practice this, the more your inner world becomes quiet, ordered, spacious. You stop chasing every emotion. You stop arguing with everything that happens. You stop allowing the world to drag your attention in every direction. Instead, you become anchored, not because life gets easier, but because you've learned how to stay steady in the storm. Most people don't have weak minds. They simply have undisciplined attention. Stoic attention is trained, intentional, and selective. And in a world full of distractions, this becomes a superpower. Mental strength is not built in the big moments of crisis. It's built in the small moments, in what you choose to react to, what you choose to ignore, and where you place your attention every single day. The Stoics believed that a person who controls their attention controls their life. And they were right. Because the moment you stop giving energy to what doesn't matter, you immediately become stronger for everything that does. If you learn this skill, truly learn it, nothing can break you. Because nothing can control you without your consent. And it all begins with the question, is this worthy of my attention? Ask it often. Answer it honestly. Your mind will change because of it.